Hello everyone, welcome back. We are now onto the blue cards from Dominaria, and joining me as usual is my good friend Anthony. How are we doing?
Yeah, good, Brett. How you doing?
Very good. Looking forward to seeing what blue has to offer.
Let's see what tricks we got.
We'll dive straight in with the Academy Drake. So this is pretty straightforward. A Wind Drake, 3 mana for a 2/2 flyer, but also has Kicker for 4. If you add an additional 4 mana, you get +2, +1/+1 counters. So it's a 4/4 for 7.
That's yeah, pretty good.
Well, we're starting strong. Like a solid blue playable card, not amazing, but it's fine. Wind Drakes are always decent, and having the additional kicker bonus seems pretty good. So
Yeah, really good. I think this is a good common.
yeah, if you're in blue, take it. It's good.
Yep.
All right, next.
The Academy Journey Mage, 4 and a blue for a 3/2 human wizard. This spell costs 1 less to cast if you control a wizard. Okay, cool. And when Academy Journey Mage enters the battlefield, return target creature an opponent controls to its owner's hand. Ooh, okay. So it's our Mana War.
Yeah,
That
the Marshall Sutcliffe pick of the set.
yeah. So you really want to be wizards, I think, for this one, for the stats to line up. But you'll probably play this anyway. This card's fine.
Yeah, I mean the extra wizardness is pretty likely going to come up if you're in blue. We're going to see a lot of wizards through this, so I think you're going to get that for less a lot of the time. I will note it's only creature and opponent controls, so and this is not going to come up very often, but you can't bounce your own creature like you could or would need to with a Mana War.
Okay. Yeah.
Which is usually an upside, but might be a downside. It means you can play this on an empty board and it's still fine. But
Yep.
yeah, well, another pretty good blue common. So,
Yep. An average one.
so we have another saga. This is the Antiquities War. 4 mana for this rare enchantment. On the first 2 triggers, you've got a look at the top 5 cards of your library. You reveal an artifact from among them into your hand, and the rest go on the bottom of your library. So that happens the second time as well. So you get 2 artifacts. And then on the third trigger, your artifacts become creatures with base power and toughness of 5/5.
Wow, that's pretty good.
And there's an interesting one that may very well end the game.
Yeah, for sure. Like you get that second turn to cast your artifacts. Hopefully, you've got 2 of them at that point, and if you've got any more lying around, that's a lot of power.
I mean, you are looking at 5 cards each time to reliably hit. You're going to want a good sort of quarter of your deck to be
Good 10.
Artifacts, but that's pretty good.
Yeah, good build around.
Not
I like it.
Limited, like, are you picking this up, or are you just going to wait and see if you've got the artifact deck and then put it in if it's there?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna take it and then try and build around it. Actually,
Okay, so this is going to be an early pick and then build up.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna sort of take this as a first pick. This is going to be a sort of shuffle through, see what's there, and if there's nothing else that's interesting, sure, I might try to go in on it. But
Okay, we'll see how we go.
not too bad.
All right, Arcane Flight, the kitty cat. 1 blue mana for an enchantment aura, and enchanted creature gets +1/+1 and has flying. So we've kind of seen these kind of auras do a lot of work. This is probably as cheap and as basic as you're going to get for this type. Whether or not it's good or not will depend on the format, I think.
Yeah, and it's going to depend on how good the removal is. At the moment, we've seen some pretty good removal, and getting 2 for 1 always really sucks with this sort of thing.
Yeah. We saw the blue cartouche. It replaced itself, so you're taking on quite a bit of risk by playing this sort of card.
Certainly. Typically, these tend to be a bit stronger in your kind of blue-green decks, because you can put flight on a giant creature. Put it on your Steel Leaf Champion, so now you've got a 5/4 flyer that can't be blocked by creatures power 2 or less. Seems like a bit of fun.
Yeah.
But, overall, it's always a risk, so be careful.
Yeah, I expect it to go late in the pack.
Not a bad card, though. So next we have the Artificer's Assistant. So a little birdie flies around and brings you the relevant tools, I assume, while you're artificing. This is a flying men, so 1 mana, 1/1 flyer. Usually pretty bad. and whenever you cast a historic spell, scry 1.
Yeah, I don't know if that's worth it. Um, I'm gonna lean on this isn't very good and not a high pick at all.
Yeah, I mean, if I think it's in a vacuum, it's not good because the historic spell thing, not that big a deal. But if you have a heavy artifact deck, if you're playing a historic heavy deck, those scries are going to add up. So I feel like it's possibly worth chucking stuff like this.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe, I don't know. I just find it hard. Like a 1/1 for one is just usually not good enough, even if you're scrying a bit. I don't know.
Sure. I mean, by the same token, we generally look at what, like 2, 3 sort of scries, maybe 4, and you start to call that drawing a card. I mean,
Yeah.
1 mana 1/1 flyer that draws you a card. That starts to be a snap pick. So
Yeah, but there's also that time where you top deck this on turn 10 and then it does nothing.
absolutely, yeah. So there's I don't think it's as bad as Flying Men normally is for this
Oh,
set,
no, of course. Yeah.
but certainly not an early pick.
Yeah, no.
There we go. Yeah.
Befuddle. 2 and a blue for an instant. Target creature gets -4/-0 until end of turn and draw a card. So this is a pretty cool combat trick because it replaces itself. Pretty much blunts an attack, which is fine. And, you can just get them by trading, by your creature killing their creature. So, yeah, this could be a really good card, I think.
I think if it didn't have draw a card on it, even if it was a mana or 2 cheaper, it wouldn't be nearly as playable.
Agreed.
I think that the draw a card is the big pull here. The fact that you get this combat trick attached to a cantrip is really important. Don't want a lot of this effect in the deck, but you can just cycle it sometimes. You spend 3 mana, draw a card, target creature gets -4, -go, doesn't do anything, but you can just draw that card sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes it's relevant.
Yeah, not too bad. This one I think is a hell of a lot better. This is Blink of an Eye. This is 2 mana to bounce a non-land permanent, so kind of like an unsummon, but for any non-land permanent. And if you kick it, you get to draw a card. So this is Into the Royal, functional reprint of Into the Royal.
I love that card.
Yeah, my first impression was, why the hell isn't we just reprint Into the Royal? Because, as I've mentioned before, I hate wasting cards and card names. But the Royal is very Zendikar specific, so we can't do that.
Yeah, I think it's effectively the same thing, right? Like, or was that creature?
It's literally the same words.
Oh, okay.
It's just a different name of a card. They couldn't reprint Into the Royal because Zendikar.
Okay. Oh, well, I'm fine with that. I love this card. I don't like the artwork, but I'm going to play this card a lot.
It is freaky artwork.
Yeah.
I think it's gone crazy on that one, and is that supposed to be a demon, like Bells and Lock or something?
Yeah, it kind of looks like it, doesn't it? Or at the very least, a Minotaur.
Yeah, it's a sort of funky card, but
yeah,
probably one of the better blue cards, blue commons in the set, I would say.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan. I love this sort of card.
Again, it's the drawer card that really gives it the push.
Yep. Oh, this one's pretty cool. Cloud Reader Sphinx. 4 and a blue for a 3/4 flying Sphinx, and when Cloud Reader Sphinx enters the battlefield, scry 2. So that's pretty decent stats. A 3/4 for 5 is pretty good on a flyer, and scrying 2 is pretty good. It's not quite drawing a card, but it's almost there.
Yeah.
So I think this is actually great.
Yeah, by that point in the game, when you're playing this on sort of turn 5, turn 6, every land you scry to the bottom is effectively drawing you another card. So.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, good card, and I'm pretty happy to pick that up.
Yep, I'll be always happy to play 1 or 2 of these.
All right, now this is a ridiculous card. I don't know. This is 6 mana for a 4/5, which is pretty mediocre. But then it has that wonderful word hexproof, which means you can't touch it.
This is what you put your flying enchantment on.
Yep, you put your flying enchantment, you put your equipment, you put everything you want on it because your opponent can't touch it.
It's kind of cool.
It's ridiculous. Anyone who's played against the hexproof creatures in the past will know just how ridiculous this card is. The
Yeah, I
giant
mean,
crocodile, I think, was the last one that I
yeah,
saw a lot of play.
the 6/7 out of yeah,
Yep,
out
that
of
one as well.
Amonkhet. That was an excellent card too. So yeah, this one might be a thing. Looking at it, doesn't look that impressive. It's only a 4/5, but you just change this in any way, and then it's a huge beater.
Yeah, absolutely. The body isn't quite big enough, but this is the kind of thing that you put that the black blade on, and you will pay the full 7 to put it on this because it can't die.
Yeah,
It's not going to lose in combat when you've got 7 mana.
yeah. This card. Yeah, I'm. This card's gonna. I'm gonna hate playing against it, and I'm probably gonna like playing with it.
Yeah, stupid cold turtle. But yeah, great card. Definitely going to play that very often.
Yep. Curator's Ward is the next one. 2 and a blue for an enchantment aura. You enchant a permanent, and enchanted permanent has hexproof. Yay! And when enchanted permanent leaves the battlefield, if it was historic, draw 2 cards.
What did we just say? Stupid hexproofing. Now you can make anything hexproof.
Yeah, it's an interesting one though because you want to make it hexproof, but then it has to leave the battlefield to get the other value out of it, which is an interesting sort of tension there on the card.
Yeah, somewhat. I mean, it's not that big a deal. If it never leaves the battlefield, it means this cool thing that you've put there and made hexproof is still there, killing your opponent. So if you don't draw the 2 cards, you're probably doing okay.
Yeah, but I just don't know if is it worth a card to make something hexproof. Like you don't want to make your 2-drop or 3-drop hexproof, do you?
No,
You don't really
and I think
care
this
that much.
is kind of going to be you want to build a battleship. You've got some auras, you've got some equipment. You want to build this one giant battleship, and this is going to be what protects that battleship.
Okay, it's an interesting one. I'm gonna have to give it a go, I think.
And you should draft multiples, because you can put Curator's Ward on a Curator's Ward on a Curator's Ward, and then you've just got multiple layers of hexproof.
Yay!
Don't do that. Don't do that. But yeah, I think it's interesting. It's certainly not an early pick, and it's certainly a very niche pick. Not everyone's going to need this, because as much as hexproof is good on a big creature, paying an extra card for it isn't always as good.
Yeah, it doesn't change the stats, so.
So we have a Deep Freeze. This is a 3-mana aura enchantment that turns a creature into a giant wall. Well, not a giant, a reasonable-sized wall. It's a 0/4 defender, loses all other abilities, and becomes a wall.
Yes, when you need to get through with Juggernaut.
Yes, yeah, when you just can't get through with that Juggernaut, you slap this down, and then you can get straight through.
This is I guess it's a decent card, right?
But it's basically as much blue removal as we're going to get here.
Yeah, I mean it's not. It can still block.
Yes, it's still going to block.
Yeah.
Hopefully you have flyers so you can go over the top.
Yeah. That's where it shines, I think.
And,
yeah. Okay.
They loses all abilities as well, so it turns off any creature that has any annoying abilities, as including things like flying.
Aha. Yes.
So
Nice.
handy, yeah. So as I said, that's blue removal. If you're playing blue, this is your removal spell, and you're going to need to pick them up.
Yeah. Okay, I have a question with this one.
Sure.
If you play this and you play another card, say the other blue enchantment we saw that gives +1/+1 and flying, will it have flying?
Timestamped. I'm gonna say without referencing any notes, which I would probably do if this was at a competition. I would say it would be which order were they played in. So if the aura that gave it +1/+1 and flying was played first, and then this was put on top of it, it would lose the flying. But if it was the other way around, if you deep freeze something and then add the +1/+1 and flying, it will have the flying.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Obviously, double check with your local judge if that comes up. I'm not 100% sure because I said I haven't got the rules in front of me to double check. But that's probably what my ruling would be in the moment.
Okay, cool. All right, Diligent Excavator. 1 and a blue for a 1/3 human artificer. And whenever you cast a historic spell, target player puts the top 2 cards of their library into their graveyard.
Yeah, it's the mill deck.
Oh, it could be like the self mill. The
Could
black
be
got
the
a
self-mill,
black had a lot of stuff to do with your graveyard and having historic things in your graveyard. So maybe there's something there.
Possibly, yeah. I mean, we did see a bit of a blue-black long game historic focused deck, so still, it's not likely to be that important.
Yeah, it's not a high pick at all.
Divination is back. Classic, very easy to go with. This is a 3-mana sorcery, draw 2 cards, and as I said, we've seen this a dozen times. It's good. It's not amazing, but it is a good, solid blue card.
Yeah, it's usually decent. Sometimes, depending on the speed of the format, it can be either really good or kind of on the verge of unplayable. But I've got a feeling that this is going to be a slower format, so I think Divination's going to go up. I think it's going to be pretty good.
Yeah, it seems like that's the kind of format we're going towards. Certainly, if you're in the blue-red Wizards deck, they seem to have a little bit of an instant sorcery feel to them, and this is going to help fuel that. Keep going through. So yeah, like me some Divination in the blue decks.
Yep, for sure. All right, Homerid Explorer, 3 and a blue for a 3/3 Homerid Scout. Is that a thing? A Homerid?
That's right. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So when it enters the battlefield, target player puts the top 4 cards of their library into their graveyard. So another self-mill card. I'm sensing a theme here.
Well, this one's a common, and it's a Grey Ogre stat, so that's not too bad. Yeah, you could possibly chain enough of these together to mill someone out.
Okay.
I don't know, maybe. This is the second mill card we've seen in fairly short succession.
Yeah, we'll see how they go. Maybe it's a 2HG strategy. We can get enough milling stuff.
Yeah, possibly. I guess the other thing you mentioned is also self-mill, so we can see a bit of self-mill action happening as well.
Yeah. And is Homerid a thing? Like, I've never heard of that before.
I've heard of Homerids, but only in a magic sense.
Okay.
We can ask the Google.
Nah, screw it. It's not that exciting of a card.
Fair enough. Doesn't look like it is. Looks like it's just a magic thing.
Okay.
Alright, let's keep going. This is In Bolus's Clutches. This is a 6-mana legendary enchantment aura. And that's mine. Thank you very much. Just whatever permanent you want, anything on the other side of the board, you say, that looks cool, I'll take it. That permanent becomes legendary as well, so don't In-Bolus Clutches as 2 of the same thing.
Yeah.
If you happen to get that opportunity, don't. Yeah, it seems really good.
Yeah, it's really good. And we found out what happened to Liliana. Bolas now has her pact. Your contract is in default. You belong to me now. Serve or die.
Well, that depends on if Bolus survives.
Well, that's a thing. This is Story Spotlight 4 out of 4, so I think he's alive at the end of this set.
Seems so, yes. She might be swept away into the clutches of Bolus and have to be rescued by the valiant Gideon.
Yeah.
Only wait and see. But as far as a card, this seems like a really good card. This is a straight 2 for 1. These kinds of things have been quite playable in the past. Things like Lay Claim and Mind Control are always good. So,
and I'm glad to see this at Uncommon.
Yes, Uncommon, not a rare. Very good.
Really, really cool.
So you're going to see this a few times.
Yep, and I'm going to take it every single time.
Very good. What do we got next?
Khan's Temporal Sundering. 4 blue for the legendary sorcery of blue. And target player takes an extra turn after this one. Return up to 1 target non-land permanent to his or to its owner's hand, and then exile Khan's Temporal Sundering. Really cool artwork. Just
that is very
saying.
funky. Very interesting.
Yeah, but 6 mana, take an extra turn. Yeah.
Legendary
I don't
so
know.
the downside is legendary sorcery, I think. 6 mana, because this is almost 2 turns. Because you return a non-land permanent to their hand, so you're unsummoning something which can often feel like a time walk because they spend all their mana, play something, you bounce it, and you're
Yep.
taking an extra turn. So this is a pretty big play, but legendary sorcery is going to be the downside. You've got to have those legends, as we've said for all the other legendary sorceries. If you don't have the legendary base, it's a wasted card slot.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think this is when you play it, it's going to feel game breaking. Just got to make sure that you've got enough of those legendary creatures.
And I noticed, not to offend, but you stumbled slightly over the words of non-land permanent to its owner's hand. You went for the default in Magic cards, which is his or hers owner's hand.
Ah,
It's what we've been doing for years. And no, I bring it up.
trained into me.
Yeah, I bring it up because that's another one of the changes they've made specifically with Dominaria and the wording. It's no functionally different, but they've changed from his or hers to the more inclusive its owner's hand. So
Yeah, or there, right?
yeah, there. So they've taken away his or her and just went with its or theirs or whatever else.
Yeah, and I really like that because it makes more sense to say, and it's so much easier to say it. The other way was just such a mouthful, and yeah, and it's so bad. I've gotten into the training of actually just saying it myself. That's bad, but it's so much easier to say there.
Yeah,
So,
and it's less. It's
change.
just less words on the card, which
Yeah.
is great. It's such a clean change, and I'm really happy with it.
yeah.
Next, we have the Merfolk Trickster. This is blue for a 2/2 with flash. And when it enters the battlefield, tap target creature an opponent controls. It loses all abilities until end of turn, which seems really good.
Yeah.
I'm sure modern Merfolk are looking at this salivating. It's another sweet little Merfolk.
Yeah. How does this work? Okay, because I'm just thinking modern. How does this work on a Tarmogoyf? Does that become a 0/1?
I'm not sure.
Sorry, I'm pulling out all the stops tonight.
I have
Yeah.
to double check what it is. I believe that Tarmogoyf is a characteristic defining ability, which I'm not sure would be removed.
Okay, because that would be really good.
That would be very handy, particularly if it's currently in combat and you suddenly turn it to a 0/1.
Yeah.
That's a really good question. I might look into that and have to get back to you, but
Okay,
certainly worth looking into.
that'll make it a lot better, and
Yes.
probably almost just straight into Merfolk in modern if that was the case. But just for limited, I think this is really good. This can help you ambush flyers and I don't know, do all sorts of weird stuff, which I really like.
Yeah, very neat trick on this one. So I think the Merfolk Trickster should definitely see play if you can support the slightly heavy blue requirement. Blue is not too bad, but
Yeah, what? Oh, okay. Sorry, the
It's,
artwork was a bit weird.
yeah, it's a Merfolk dragging some poor man into the ocean.
Yeah.
All right, so we have the Mirari Conjecture.
All right, 4 and a blue for the Saga, and on Law Counter 1, return target instant card from your graveyard to your hand. Okay, and on number 2, return target sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand. Okay, and then number 3, until end of turn, whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, copy it. You may choose new targets for the copy. Is this a more constructed card? I don't really like it for limited, I don't think.
No, not for limited. A form of constructed, certainly. I'm looking straight to Commander with this one. Blue Spellslinger's decks. I mean, story time. Just the other day was playing my Noyandar Commander deck, which is a spell slinging sort of deck. You got the Primal Amulet, which when it flips doubles a spell, and you have the Swarm Intelligence, which doubles a spell, and then you have Rite of Replication kicked, and you make
Oh no!
15 copies of my Drog Skull Reaver, which is the 3/5 double striking, life linking, draw cards guy. The game didn't last much longer, I can assure you, mostly because I drew myself out and lost.
Oh really?
Because
Well-
you get so many triggers.
If you gotta lose, that's the way to do it. That's
But
awesome.
I mention that because this card is certainly going into that deck. It's just recovering an instant, recovering a sorcery, and then doubling all of your instants and sorceries for a turn is really, really good fun. So
Sounds good.
yeah, there's going to be some fun had with this in Commander Circles, but I don't think it's going to go anywhere other than that. Too expensive for anything else.
Fair enough. That's really sweet artwork.
It sure is. This is a beautiful piece of art.
Look at that.
By Mr. Arnold. Man.
Very nice.
So we next have the Naban, Dean of Iteration. He is a 2-mana 2/1, so 1 and a blue for a human wizard. And if a wizard entering the battlefield under your control causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. That's a lot of words to mean if you play a wizard and it creates a trigger, then you get it again.
Okay. Is Snapcaster a wizard?
Yes.
Ah. No, that's cool.
Yeah, probably not going to get into modern for Snapcaster, but
No,
it
no.
might, a bit of fun. Yeah, I mean, there's I think it's not Kess, but the same deck that Kess came in from Commander, the recent Grixis Wizards Commander.
Oh, okay, I don't know too much about that one.
Is all about wizards, obviously, as mentioned, and it has whenever you play a wizard, you can make another copy of that wizard.
Ah, yes,
So you
yes.
get extra triggers. So playing this guy, you're just going to get so many extra triggers. It's
Oh, that's really cool.
a very cool little one.
I like that.
There are some other triggers. I mean, we've seen the Man of War. That was a wizard.
Yep.
So there's certainly other ways that they can get these happening in limited.
Mm-hmm.
But mostly it's just a 2-mana 2/1.
And this one just might be good being a legendary creature, because I think a lot of the blue and white and black care about the legendary creature. So just having a cheap one might just be really useful.
Yeah, certainly. It is a rare, so you're not going to see it very often.
That's a good point. Yeah.
But certainly just picking it up somewhere in the middle of the pack, because most people aren't going to pick this up.
Yeah.
Not too bad.
All right, another legendary creature, wizard, Narumeha, Master Wizard. 2 blue for a 3/3 with flash, and when it enters the battlefield, copy target instant or sorcery spell you control. You may choose new targets for the copy. And other wizards you control get +1/+1. So we've got a Wizard Lord here, which is pretty sweet.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got the whole reverberate thing going when it enters.
Yeah, and it has a lot of words, and usually that's a good sign. But in this case, I just don't see it. I mean, it's 4 mana, and you already have to have cast another instant or sorcery.
Yeah.
So realistically, to get the max value out of this, you're spending minimum 6 to 8 to 10 mana.
Yeah, and they have to be on things that you need a copy for, right? Like, maybe your Bolt?
Sure, I mean, if you can have this guy in play, then cast Khan's Temporal Sundering and flash this in, and get 3 extra turns.
What's
could
it,
be
like
fun.
10 mana? Yeah, I mean, go for it.
That's 10 mana, and Magical Christmas Land all around. But 3 extra turns, bounce 3 permanents. There's some crazy stuff you can do, but it's all Magical Christmas Land when you look into that stuff.
And that's 2 rares and a mythic.
Possibly 2 mythics. I think the Sundering might have been mythic as well.
Oh, there you go. If you do it, you got to let me know.
Take a picture and post it to the internet, and no one will believe you. No, it's fine as a Wizard Lord. It's fine as a flash 4-mana 3/3, but don't expect to get anything out of that other trigger, I wouldn't think.
Yeah, which is solid by itself. 3/3 flash that pumps your other wizards is great.
Yeah, I mean, even when you start looking at not as big Christmas Landy scenarios, something like Divination into this is 7 mana.
Yeah.
So it's not easy to do.
Yep. All right. Opt is back, and it's okay for limited.
Yeah, it's a cantrip. There are triggers on instants and sorceries. We're seeing some instant sorcery stuff. I mean, you could do this. There's only 5 mana for Maha.
Yeah, okay.
For a double, the draw 2 cards. Yeah, no, it's fine.
Precognition field, 3 and a blue for an enchantment. You may look at the top card of your library. You may cast the top card of your library if it's an instant or sorcery card, and you may pay 3 to exile the top card of your library. So this is a commander card.
Yeah, Noyandar is getting so many toys in this set.
Cool.
Precondition field, yeah, it's very much a commander card. And if you're building an instant sorcery deck in limited, then it's I don't know, that's pretty crazy.
No, you don't want that.
Probably not. Even the 3 mana to filter the top card of your library is probably not worth it.
No.
Maybe no. Okay. We have a Relic Runner, 2 mana, 2/1. It can't be blocked if you cast a historic spell this turn. So you play an artifact, and then it can't be blocked.
That's kind of cool.
Seems interesting. It's just a fine sort of 2 mana, 2/1, sort of like a piker.
Yeah, it's one of those sort of middle of the road cards. I'm not sure where it sort of goes because you got your blue-red wizards, and then you've got your blue spell-based decks. I guess this one goes in with the historic ones, but they're not really aggressive, so I don't know. It's sort of hard to see where this one's going to be good.
Yeah, I'm sort of looking at this as like it's an evasive creature, so it feels more blue-white, where they have a bit of historic stuff going on there with their blue-white uncommon. Historic spells could be played at flash with that guy, so there must be some historic synergy. That's what I'm getting at. And because of the aggression from white and some of the equipment you might want to include, I can see that sort of coming together. But again, this is just a blue common, so it's not that pivotal.
Yeah. I was just trying to see where... it'll be interesting to see where it fits in.
Yeah, that would be my best guess, is it sort of best fits in a blue-white deck.
Okay. Yeah. Nice little common. Rescue. 1 blue mana, return target permanent you control to its owner's hand. Yeah, I don't like this.
No, don't want to play it. Pass.
No.
The Sage of Latnam is a 2 mana 1/2. You can sacrifice an artifact to draw a card. So this is Human Artificer. Just turn your artifacts into more cards. Kind of the brother to the Orc that smashes them. This guy studies them.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting how different they are, right? I think I'd rather the shock than the draw a card, which is kind of crazy. I don't know why, but I don't like it as much.
Yeah, I don't know. I think in this kind of deck, you don't necessarily want to be sacrificing your artifacts.
Or maybe you do. I don't know.
We've only seen a couple of artifacts, I think, that want to be sacrificed.
I'm just trying to think of black where there's all of this stuff coming out of the graveyard. Maybe there's value in that, or exiling historic things from your graveyard. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I'm probably going to pass on the Sage more often than not, but
yeah, me too.
We'll see.
All right, Sentinel of the Pearl Trident. 4 and a blue for a 3/3 Merfolk Soldier with Flash. And when it enters the battlefield, you may exile target historic permanent you control. If you do, return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step.
Okay.
So, yeah, we get to re-enter you get to flicker your historic stuff, which is pretty cool with Sagas.
Yeah, that's probably the first use would be flickering Sagas and rebuying Sagas, which seems nice. Also, just saving stuff from removal. This is hold up your mana at the end of the turn. You can just play this if they didn't do anything, or if they try to kill your guy, or you can block and sort of flicker it so no damage happens.
Yeah.
So little tricks like that. I think it's a decent little card.
Yeah, and there's a few creatures in blue with Flash, so this is holding mana up is going to be a bit scary. So yeah, that's good.
Yeah, particularly combining it with black, it's got that instant speed draw spell, so you can start to hold up that, or creatures, or removal, or counter spells, and your opponent's just going to have no idea what to expect.
Yeah, it gives you a lot of options as a control player, which is awesome.
Alright, so we have a Leviathan. This might be Lord Sock. This is your other option. You can possibly have this as Lord Sock. This is a 6 blue, so 8 mana for an 8/8 Leviathan. When it enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, return all creatures to their owner's hands except for Merfolk, Krakens, Leviathans, Octopi, and Serpents.
This has got to be the one. The Lord Sock of old also bounced everything back to their hands, so this has got to be the one.
Yep, this can be our Lord Sock. The kicker is 1 blue, so that puts it up to 10 mana in order to get the bounce effect.
Done.
Without it, it's an 8 mana 8/8.
Which is bad.
It's pretty mediocre.
Yeah.
I mean, it's huge, but it's 8 mana, so
Yeah. Green blue kicking this. This is going to be sweet.
yeah, definitely got to kick it.
Yep.
I'm also going to have to get that song on just the first part of that song, as the Beastie Boys.
The Beastie Boys.
I think they just start off with "kick it."
Ah, yeah.
So every time I cast a kick a spell, just play that as a little soundbite.
Yep.
I'm sure no one will punch me for that. All right, moving right along.
Syncopate. We've seen this one before. Counter target spell unless its controller pays X, and it gets cast for blue and an X. And if the spell was countered, exile it instead of putting it in the graveyard.
Yeah.
This is very good for constructed. For limited, it's okay. Usually not. Counters aren't the best in limited, but it's fine.
Yeah, counters can be tricky and limited, but this was not quite a hard counter, but it's a scalable counter. So I feel like this is certainly a card that I will be putting in those blue-black control decks.
Yeah.
And as you say, huge for constructed. I mean, these kinds of effects were around when Esper control and blue-white control were absolutely dominating in standard a couple of years ago. So this was a pivotal part of that, stopping the early aggression. Your opponent's 1-drops and 2-drops just don't resolve because you've got Syncopate.
Yeah, that's right. You need that two mana catch-all.
Yeah, really strong card. So for constructed, decent in limited.
Yeah, and I think it might be better than I initially thought for limited, just because a lot of people are going to be trying to kicking their spells, so they're going to be having a lot more expensive stuff going on, which makes counters a lot better.
Yeah, certainly, and there's no better feeling than spending 2 mana to counter a spell that costs 8 mana.
Yeah.
We have a Tempest Djinn, so this is along the line. I think there's a bit of a cycle here with triple mana of each color. So the Tempest Djinn is a flying 0/4 and gets +1/+0 for each basic island you control. So presumably in limited that's going to be a 3/4 for 3, which is pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
And then it gets bigger as you play more islands.
Yeah, again, like with the other ones, you're probably going to be casting this on turn 5 or possibly 6 to get your 3/4, which isn't that good. But if you're majority blue, this is going to be a great card for you.
Yeah, you definitely need to, like the other ones, have a heavy blue presence in your deck. You sort of like 10 islands and 7
Plus.
something else, and then probably more, just so you can hit that triple blue.
Yeah. Okay, Tetsuko Umezawa, Fugitive. 1 and a blue for a 1/3 legendary creature, human rogue, and creatures you control with power or toughness 1 or less can't be blocked.
That is very unusual.
Creatures you control with power or toughness 1 or less can't be blocked. Okay.
So it's a 2 mana 1/3 unblockable.
Yeah, and you can make like a
Until
5/1.
And you can make it 5/1, yeah?
Sorry, no, but any 5/1 right, is unblockable.
That you control, yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Any X1s and 1Xs are all unblockable for you. It's
that's
a shame you can't get the giant frog spirit down to 1 toughness easily.
Or can you?
Well, you can use that neg2 thing
Yes.
and get it down and then swing in for 7, which could be
That's good.
unblockable, which is kind of silly. But yeah, I think this is a pretty average card. I haven't seen that many X1s or anything like that you would want to pair this with.
No.
There was a 3/1, I think, in black for 3 mana.
And I think there was an artifact, a 3/1 artifact as well. Could be wrong, but yeah. Yeah. This is meh.
Very niche, very...
Alright, Time of Ice. 3 and a blue for an Enchantment Saga. On 1 and 2, you tap target creature an opponent controls. It doesn't untap during its controller's untap step for as long as you control Time of Ice. Oh, that's pretty good. And then number 3, return all tapped creatures to their owner's hand. Oh, this is brutal. This is brutal. So it comes down, you tap a guy. Next turn, you tap another guy. And then if they attack you, you bounce all of their stuff. That's crazy. Like, What do you even do when you play against this card? This card's really good. I really like this.
It's a strong one. It's an uncommon, and it looks like a lot of these sagas. The uncommon ones are more powerful for limited, and they seem to be very deliberately selected. Where these ones are better for limited and better in sort of that competitive play, whereas the rares are big, flashy, very specific uses.
Yeah.
Which is good. I think it's a really neat design. This is pretty close to claustrophobia.
Not quite, right?
Well, just because it taps a guy, it taps it again, and then it removes it from the battlefield. So you can take out one creature for 3 full turns, and they have to replay it.
No, but you can choose a different creature, right, on the second turn?
You can, and that's why I think it's like claustrophobia. If you choose a different creature, though, that first creature will have untapped.
No, because it's for as long as you control Time of Ice.
Oh, right, I misread it, sorry. I thought it was until next turn.
No, it's not next untap step, it just doesn't untap for as long as you control Time of Ice.
Right,
so you tap down one, and then the next turn you tap down another one, and then you bounce both of them.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, so claustrophobia at minimum is like where I'm drawing that. That's my comparison point. It's tapping 2 things and removing 2 things from play over the course of its life. But
yeah, no, I think this is better than that. I think this is excellent card. And on the turn before number 3 happens, they can't attack you because then the attackers are getting bounced.
Yeah.
This is a brutal really card to come up against. Yeah, this is good.
I got to really pay attention to that wording. I'm also interested to find out if flickering it would have an effect. That'll be in the release notes, so I need to double check the release notes. But if you flicker this Time of Ice, if those creatures remain tapped, or if it tracks the object. I feel like it tracks the object would be my guess. So flickering it doesn't do what you want it to do. Other than re-trigger it so that you get to tap 2 more things, but
yeah, that's I'm okay with that.
Yeah, it's awesome. This is a great card. Pick it as a blue card, I would say.
Yeah, for sure. A lot of good blue uncommons.
And obviously
look at that.
Some magnificent art there from Franz Volwinkle.
What? That's pretty weird. The zombie in the middle of it with a sword through it. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I don't actually know the story that this one is referring to. I mean, it's obviously got to do with the Ice Age, but there's certainly a story behind this one that I'm not aware of.
Yeah, me too.
Alright, so the next we have is the Tolarian Scholar. It is a 3 mana 2/3, which is a card, I suppose.
Yeah. It's a wizard.
It's a wizard.
Then we got Unwind, 2 and a blue, instant, counter target non-creature spell, untap up to 3 lands. So this is kind of rewind for non-creature spells. It's pretty good.
That's pretty crazy. Usually this untap mechanic breaks things, so I would be keeping a close eye on Unwind. Non-creature is a big deal, but put this into control in standard. I'm thinking like sideboard, you come up against another control deck, this is going to be your trump, because you can just get to untap and keep going.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I like this quite a bit.
Yeah, very powerful. Limited, just
no.
Not interested. If your opponent has Time of Ice, maybe side this in, because you probably can't beat Time of Ice any other way.
Yeah, maybe.
But otherwise, not super interested. We now have a Vodalian Arcanist? Vodalian Arcanist. There we go. Oh, yeah, we got there. Vodalian Arcanist.
Very good.
Which is a 2 mana 1/3, and you may add a colorless mana, so it's a taps for a mana, which can only be spent on instant or sorcery spells.
That's interesting.
I mean, a 2 mana 1/3 is not terrible.
Yeah, especially if it's doing something for you, like effectively reduce the cost of a spell. Could be good.
Yeah, this seems okay. I mean, you get to play your divinations for cheaper, you get to do that sort of thing. You can turn it into real mana using Unwind.
Okay, yeah.
Because you don't have a different land. And, we've seen the Into the Royal, or was it Blink of an Eye sort of spells. Yes. So there's certainly some spells to cast with this. Yeah,
okay, I can buy that. Yeah, very good.
I like it. Unfortunately, you won't use it on your Wizard Lightning because Wizard Lightning only costs red. So
Yeah, the best one to reduce is already
it's
reduced.
already reduced. Yeah, so that's pretty good.
Okay, the next one is Weight of Memory. 3 blue for a sorcery. Draw 3 cards. Target player puts the top 3 cards of their library into their graveyard. This is fine. Sorcery, 5 mana, 3 cards.
Yep.
In a slow format, which I think this is going to be quite good. So I'll play it.
I would agree. This feels like a solid card. I mean, it has those magical words on it. Draw 3 cards, and you don't need much more than that to make it good. I mean, we've just seen a little Merfolk Wizard that'll help you cast this a little bit faster. So yeah, it seems a good card. Certainly pick up and play in blue decks, slow blue decks, but pretty much all blue decks.
Yep. And Wizard's Retort. 1 blue for an instant. This spell costs 1 less to cast if you control a wizard and counter target spell. So this is, counter spell. So they gave you Lightning Bolt and counter spell if you have a wizard. That's cool.
So wizard, a tribal, getting some toys to play with certainly. Blue for counterspell is pretty good.
Yes.
But
I
again,
can't say much more than that.
You can't tap our little Merfolk Wizard, the Valdalian Arcanist, to play this. It's just not. It's terrible. Don't play it. No, this is good in your blue decks. 1 blue like cancel is okay. It's fine. And if you have wizards as well, this gets a lot better. So.
Yeah, and there's just so many blue wizards. There's a good chance you're going to have one. So
a lot of blue wizards, and there's a lot of big, expensive spells that we've seen. As you mentioned earlier, counter spells are probably better in this format than in previous ones.
Yeah.
All right, and we have the Zahid Jinn of the Lamp, 6 mana, 5/6, and which is quite cool. You can, instead of paying 6 mana, because that's a little bit expensive for your 5/6 flyer, 4 mana and tap an untapped artifact you control.
That's ridiculous.
That's pretty ridiculous. I mean, we've seen a bunch of 1 mana and 2 mana artifacts that you can play to get this out. So this is a 4 mana 5/6 flyer very, very often.
Which is absurd.
That's crazy.
Yeah, this Windmill Slam first pick this.
Yeah, for sure. This is a first pick. This is splashable if you have artifacts because it reduces it down to a single blue. Which is pretty awesome. So good card. Mate, do not let that go past you.
Yeah, and a really cool flavor win. Really, really cool.
Yeah, because presumably you rub the lamp, which is your artifact, to get it.
Yeah.
That's nice. I like it. And if I'm not... Yep, Z
That's
is the
it.
end of our blue cards. So blue looks really cool. Very controlling, but very cool.
So I've loved blue and I've loved green. This is great.
You are absolutely set to make some excellent blue-green decks.
Yep.
Alright, well, with that, we will call blue to a close and hopefully see you back soon for our final set review for the white cards.
See you then.